Okay, so I was 28 weeks pregnant, roughly 6 months, and I went to the doctors to have my regular check-in. I needed a medical certificate so I could fly to Perth to participate in a baptism, and I also needed to do a glucose test. So we did those. Doctor said, yep, all good, here's your certificate. Might want to lay off the biscuits, but yeah, all good. See you in a month's time. So off I waddled, went back to work, and by the end of the evening, because you know what it's like when you're about to go on leave, it's always crazy at work. So it was a late night. By the time I left, I was definitely not feeling great. I was feeling quite uncomfortable. I get home, I have dinner, I'm talking to my husband. Yeah, something doesn't feel right. So we do a little research, open a book, where we are, 28 weeks, yep, okay, Braxton Hicks contractions, right, that's what it is. So I go to bed, and throughout the night, these contractions continue to contract, and they're getting really painful. I wake up the next morning, and I'm like, okay, I'll call the doctor when I get to the office. It should be okay. So I get to the office, and I talk to a friend, colleague, who's had 4 babies. I'm like, yeah, feeling a bit uncomfortable, not really loving life. She's like, you're going to the hospital, love. She put me in a taxi and sent me off to the doctors. So I go speak to the doctor. Yeah, not feeling so good. I think it's these Braxton Hicks contractions. He does a few things. He's like, yeah, nah, sorry, that's not Braxton Hicks. You're in labour. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Okay. So I get wheeled up admitted to the hospital, and I'm in this little room off to the side where the nurses are, and they close those rattly curtains to give you a bit of privacy, and I get changed, I'm on the bed, they've hooked me up to various machines, they put me on a drip, and they give me an injection that will help to accelerate the baby's development. Okay. So then I call my husband. Yeah, it's probably not Braxton Hicks. It turns out I'm in labour, so you might want to, take some time off. I then call work. Hey, guess what, guys? That leave I was going to take? Might be taking it a little bit early. And then I've got the decision. Do I call my parents in Melbourne and let them know what's going on? And then I'm like, well, maybe we give this a little time to settle. My sister lost a baby 2 weeks ago, so might not be the best time to say this as well. So I put that one on hold, and then I'm lying in the bed, just looking at those blue curtains, scared out of my mind, and I'm desperately trying to think, what did I do wrong? How could I have prevented this? How can I stop this from happening? Was it too much stress at work? Should I not have gone for that walk yesterday afternoon? And then I remember, oh no, we've got to not stress. Stress is bad for this. We need to calm down. And of course, I'm not really doing that. But I'm like, no, things are okay. The doctors can stop this. And then 2 days later, the doctor's like, yeah, doesn't look like we're going to be able to stop this. So we're going to have to take you off the drugs. They're not good for you. But we'll keep up with the oral medication. We still might be okay. But you probably want to speak to a neonatal intensivist. Right. So these 2 gentlemen come in a few hours later and say to us, okay, so in this case, best case scenario, 7 to 10 weeks in hospital, but we really don't know till you have the baby. And some of the things you probably need to think about might be that because the baby's lungs are underdeveloped, there could be some serious medical complications. Their hearts can quite often have some abnormalities, and you might need to be prepared for worst case scenario. Okay, thanks. So they leave, and then it's time to have that conversation. What's our birth plan going to be? Okay, we're going to take the surfactant, which will help the lungs. Okay, and where do we draw the line? Where is too much intervention? At what point do you go, we're not going to do this any longer? At what point do you choose you're fighting for something you are desperate to have, and then at the same time saying, you know what, maybe it's not the right time? And so we kind of came up with some conclusions, with some things we were going to do. And then it was just a matter of letting a very much... we decided to just let it go. We would do what we could do. We've done the best we are. We're in the best place we can be. It will be what it will be. And so with that, my son was born at 2:00 that following morning, and he will be 18 in 2 weeks' time, and he's an amazing kid, so thank you.